Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about today is what food to stock up on, nutrition, emergency foods, and what to buy right before an emergency, as well as some food advice. So, why should you consider stocking up on emergency foods for a potential natural disaster? Fueling your body during a crisis is extremely different from your everyday diet. If you do find yourself implementing your emergency plan, you'll probably be expending more energy than you normally would, meaning you should eat high energy, high protein foods. So, here's what you should have on hand in advance and what you should buy right before an emergency so you won't be wondering what to do when the power goes out. Because it's especially important to eat nutritious foods that will help you maintain good health, and because you have a limited supply in your emergency preparedness kit, the higher quality foods that you eat and the fewer of them, the better. In a disaster or in an emergency, you want those calories. You want some nutrients and some fiber, something to keep your diet normal. There are a number of non perishables, or close to it, I should say, foods that last a long time, so you can stash them away for an extended period of time, even if it's not hurricane season or tornado season or blizzard season. Okay. Make a list of everything that's in your stockpile. Check your expiration dates every 6 to 12 months. Rotate your foods out. And don't forget to have a manual can opener at all times. And all foods won't be of any use if you cannot open it, right? So, the first thing that I want to talk about is peanut butter. Peanut butter is a really great source of energy. It's chock full of healthy like fats and proteins. Unless the jar indicates otherwise, you don't have to refrigerate it when it's opened. Crackers. Crackers are a really good replacement for bread and make a fine substitute when making sandwiches. So now let's talk about nuts and trail mixes. Stocking up on these high energy foods, they're healthful and they're convenient for snacking. Cereal, I choose for myself, not for the kids pretty much, but for myself and for my husband and stuff. We choose multigrain cereals that are individually packaged so they don't become stale after opening. So look for cereals with minimal added sugar as well as high fiber content to help you feel fuller longer. The next thing are granola bars and power bars. This is something that I always keep stocked in this house. Okay. Not only do the kids love them for breakfast, but also they're really great for snack time too. These portable snacks usually stay fresh for about 6 months. Plus, they're excellent source of carbohydrates. You can get more energy from carbs without eating tons of food. The next thing are dried fruits, like raisins, apricots, things like that. In the absence of fresh fruit, these healthy snacks offer potassium and a dietary fiber. Dried fruits actually provide you with a significant amount of nutrients and calories. So now let's talk about canned meats like tuna, salmon, chicken, turkey. Generally lasting 2 years in the pantry, canned meats provide essential protein. Now, vacuum packed pouches have a shorter shelf life but will last about 6 months. Now let's talk about canned veg. When the real deal is not an option, okay, canned veg can provide you with essential nutrients. Now, canned beans like chickpeas, black beans, white beans, among others, they provide a good source of protein along with fiber, potassium, and iron. Now, canned soups and chilies, They can be eaten straight out of the can and they provide a variety of nutrients. Now let's talk about dry pasta and pasta sauces. Pasta is filling, and dry pasta and jarred sauce can last on the pantry shelf for a long time. Bottled water. It's important to drink enough water every single day. A normal active person should drink at least a half gallon of water every single day. The other half gallon is for food, cooking and for washing. So now let's talk about sports drinks like Gatorade, Powerade. The electrolytes and the carbohydrates in these drinks will help you stay hydrated and replenish the fluids when water is scarce. Now let's talk powdered milk. Almost all dairy products require refrigeration, so stock up on this substitute for an excellent source of calcium and vitamin D when fresh milk is not an option. Now let's talk sugar, salt, pepper, and the like. A basic supply of seasonings and sweeteners will help improve the flavor of your food, both fresh and packaged. Properly stored flour can last up to 2 years when vacuum sealed. So it might be worthwhile to keep a small amount on hand. If you can boil water, you should also keep some coffee, some tea bags, which have many other uses besides just brewing them. If you've been having ample warning of a storm, regardless of the storm. Okay. And I'm not just talking a natural storm either, if you catch my drift. There's still time to run to the market and pick up some food, fresh produce, and some other items that have shorter shelf lives will be important. Most of these foods will last about a week after they've been purchased, and you will have a fresh alternative to all the packaged foods that you have in your pantry. Let's say apples. They can last up to 3 months when stored in a cool, dry area, away from perishable fruits like bananas, citrus fruits like oranges and grapefruits. Because of their high acid content and their sturdy skins, citrus fruits can last up to about 2 weeks without refrigeration. Okay. Avocados. If you buy an unripe, firm avocado, it'll last outside of the refrigerator for about a week. Tomatoes. If you buy them unripe, tomatoes will last several days at room temperature. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams. If you have access to a working stove, these root vegetables are good keepers to make tasty side dishes. Stored in a cool, dark area, potatoes will last about a month. Cucumbers, summer squash. These vegetables will last a few days outside of refrigeration and they can also be eaten raw. Okay, so if you've got some ranch dressing, you know. So, winter squash, while most are inedible uncooked, winter squashes like acorn squash will keep for a few months. If you are unable to cook during an emergency, stockpile a bunch of winter squash because they will keep for months. So now let's talk about hard packed sausages like sopressata, pepperoni. Okay. You can't, if you can't eat tuna and chicken forever, try stocking up on a few packages of dry cured salami, sopressata, which is it's a southern Italian specialty. Okay, it's available at a few grocery stores. Unopened, they will keep for about 6 weeks in the pantry. Okay, there are certainly ways to store food in the fridge so it stays fresh as long as possible. But if the electricity goes out, how do you know what is and isn't safe to eat from the fridge? If your food has spent more than 2 hours over 40 degrees Fahrenheit, throw it out. As long as frozen foods still have ice crystals or are cool to this touch, they're still safe. Once it gets to be room temperature, bacteria forms pretty quickly, and you want to be very careful about what you're eating. Okay, so to keep fresh foods uh, fresh and safe during a power outage, Keep the doors closed on your fridge and on your freezer to slow down the thawing process. And given with the recalls that we're constantly seeing, the nationwide recalls of ground beef due to E. coli concerns, it is especially important to not only keep the meat at proper temperature, but to cook it thoroughly to kill off any bacteria. If you do not have electricity at all, you still may be able to cook and heat your food. If you have outdoor access or like a charcoal grill, propane stove, uh, they can't be used indoors, so don't even try to bring it in the house. But if you're stuck indoors, do you have a couple cans of Sterno? You know, the Sterno cans handy. It's essential to heat in a can. Um, it requires no electricity. It can warm up small amounts of food in cookware, so they're fine. If you live in an area that is high risk for flooding, okay, like where I live in Tampa, consider buying your pantry items all in cans, as they are less likely to be contaminated by flood waters than in jars. Okay. It's recommended that people don't eat home canned foods or jarred foods that have been exposed to flood waters because those seals are not quite as intact, and water damage like stains on hardwood floors and carpets can be removed with pantry staples like vinegar and mayo. Yeah, mayonnaise, but that's because there's vinegar in mayonnaise. So don't toss out the condiments just yet because you can actually repair your carpets with mayonnaise. But that's another time, another story, another video. But anyway, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.